Tech for Seniors, Season 2, Episode 53. Cool, eh? Season 2. So we did it, guys. I want to thank everyone. Well, it's really you. It's everybody who kept watching all year and supporting us. We got so much enthusiasm for everybody that we decided to keep going. So we're going to do Season 2. And we're having a lot of fun doing that. So thank you everyone for coming. Thank you those of you who are over on our streaming service. Thank you for coming as well. The show is a little bit different for the streaming people. We're going to have the streaming service for about 50 minutes, and then just before the music segment comes in, we will be ending the show for our streaming service. But for our Zoom people, we are going to continue on, and the show will end after our question and answer period, which will start at the top of the hour, and then we'll have a Q&A for about 20 minutes, and then that'll be the show for today. And if you do miss the show and you want to see it again, we have all 52 episodes now, and it will be 53 at the end of the day, on YouTube, so you can play them as often as you want, over and over and over again. All right, let me introduce everybody. Where is Hewie? Hewie, what time is it, Hewie?
12:03.
Can you show us how you look at the time? What do you got? New watch, eh?
A watch. I haven't worn a watch in 10 years or more. I used to have a holder that I'd hold my phone on my wrist. Now I don't have to do that.
Yeah, we're retired. What do we need watches for, right?
To keep track of doctor's appointments.
Ah, there you go. That's a good idea. Bob, what time is it?
Same time as Hewie, same watch. Just the faceplate is different on mine.
Right. So what do you think so far? You're happy with it? Is it
considering for $20, yeah, I'm very happy.
All right, very good. And listen, the big news, of course, of the week is Ray. Ray has got a new computer. Ray, tell us about your new computer.
Well, I'll tell you a little bit about it. I'm trying to keep up with the Joneses here. Everybody else on this team is getting new computers and talking about them. So I figured I had to get one. It has the M.2 hard drive. And I'm going to talk about that in a future week, explaining exactly what that is and how much faster that is than the typical kind of solid state drives that we're used to. I'm going to give you the whole story after I do some more testing on it as well. But an i7 processor, 32 gig of RAM, it's not so bad.
There you go. And Dewey.
Hello there.
Have you got anything high tech this week? Did you get any technology?
No, didn't do a thing high tech at all.
You're just enjoying the oranges.
No, we had our place painted in the last 3 days.
Oh yeah, how did that go? How did that go?
Very well. I'll send pictures when it's done, about a day from now.
That'd be great. I'm thinking I'll get them. I'll talk to you about it, but I think maybe they can do mine as well next year when I get down there. All right, that's great. So thanks for everybody for coming. I wanted to talk about a couple of things today. The first is, if you have not subscribed to our YouTube or to our newsletter, please sign up. If you noticed the newsletter that came out on Saturday, there was a couple of new features in there. One, of course, was Dewey's Tech Talk now is available on, we'll talk about that in a minute, online as a YouTube video. But it also listed a couple of playlists. Now, the easiest thing for you to do is a playlist is something I create, and it's basically a website or a URL, and you can use that to bookmark it, and it will be and it will have all the shows, and as I add the shows to it. Now, in the past, what we've done is we've had one playlist for all the shows, and all the shows that Tech for Senior creates. We actually create some product as well and put it up there, and that was all melded into this one playlist called Tech for Seniors. And it's because we have 52 shows now, and it was getting like so many videos in there, it was getting crazy. So what I've done is we now have 2 playlists. And the first playlist will be of the episodes, the episodes as we produce the episodes. They're all in one playlist, but I've separated then a separate playlist called videos. It's Tech for Senior videos, and they're in the second playlist. Now, those lists are listed in the newsletter, and the easiest thing for you guys to do is simply to click the playlist and bookmark it, and then you've got it. And there's only 2 now that you'll have. You'll have the existing videos that we have, and those are videos like how to find tech for seniors, Dewey segments and stuff like that will be in that playlist. But the actual episodes that we have will all be in the original playlist. Okay, so we've got 2 there, and it was well outlined in the newsletter. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. But it's in the newsletter. Just click on that, or you can just go to our channel, and you will see on the channel the links are all there for you as well. But that's a quick way for you to find out what we're doing. Just a little bit of a change. Now, the other thing that I wanted to announce to everybody is we're going to do a pilot. We're going to do a new feature. Tech for Senior is going to do a new feature, and it's called Tech for Senior Live. And we're going to do this. We're going to try this. This is just a promo we're doing to see how this goes. You have to be aware on YouTube now, YouTube Live is really getting very popular, and YouTube wants to promote this. And so there are a lot of, well, there's tech shows, there are all sorts of people doing this. And what it is it's a live broadcast on YouTube, much the same as we're doing now. But this is going to be Bob, Hewie, and I are going to do on Thursday morning, and it'll be 9 o'clock my time, 9 o'clock Pacific time, and it will be 12 o'clock Eastern time, and then you can figure out your time zones. And you just go over to our YouTube channel, the same that we're broadcasting on now, and you will see us, and we'll be there between 9 and 10 Pacific time. And the 3 of us are just going to talk. We don't want this to interfere with the Monday show. This is not a competition to the Monday show. The Monday show is very structured. We have all our stuff for you and everything organized. This is just going to be 3 guys talking about technology. What we talk about, who knows, right? We get up in the morning, Bob gets up and says, let's talk about security. You know, I get up and let's talk about watches. I don't know. What we're going to talk about. You'll be able to see us, and you'll be able to put your comments in the chat and say, you know, what do you think about this? And we're just going to talk for an hour and see if we get any response, see how we feel about it, and see what happens. So this is a trial we're going to do. We're going to just give it a one shot on this coming Thursday. So if you are interested in listening to us, you can come and listen, and you can ask some questions or whatever, and but it won't be any pre-recorded, any information like that. It's just talk. And if you find what we talk about interesting, there you go, you can find it. If so we're going to do this just on a trial basis and see how that goes. Bob, did you have anything to add to that, or Hewie, do you have anything?
Yeah, Chris already mentioned it. We will be using StreamYard for this, and then live it to YouTube. Yeah, you won't, but that'll just, and that's the reason is we're gonna try different ways. We could try to do it with Zoom. We're gonna try some different ways and just see how it all works out and see what happens. So anyway, that's the plan. And we're
just so people understand, the only way they're going to be able to watch it is go to YouTube.
That's right.
And go to the YouTube channel. They aren't going to have a Zoom. There's not going to be a Zoom link or anything like that.
That's right. You just go to our channel, and you'll find the channel. It's the same channel on the newsletter that's on our website and everything. It says if you want to watch this show, go to our YouTube channel. It's the same channel. Just click the same links and it'll take you right there, and then we'll be sitting there. Okay, Bob, are you ready to go?
I am. Here is the Avast Security News Roundup for the week ending March 26th, 2021. Facebook is developing an Instagram app for kids under 13. Shortly after BuzzFeed News reported that an internal memo at Instagram announced plans for a kids version of the platform, a spokesperson for parent company Facebook confirmed the rumor to The Independent. Right now, there aren't many options for parents, so we're working on building additional products that are suitable for kids, managed by parents, the spokesperson said. Currently, children under 13 are forbidden to use the main Instagram app. The company has not yet shared a detailed plan of how the children's version will work, but the spokesperson added, we're exploring bringing a parent-controlled experience to Instagram to help kids keep up with their friends, discover new hobbies and interests, and more. A vast security evangelist, Louis Carones, agrees that the younger crowd is clamoring to jump into the social app. Even if they aren't allowed to be there, they will find a way, he said. Having tools of parents to control what they do there is better than not having anything at all, like nowadays. In any case, it is crucial that parents have open communications about the topic with their children and that they explain the dangers of the platform. On a personal note, if you can't control it, is making it legal really the answer? Acer hit by $50 million ransom attack. Malicious hacker gang Revil has compromised Acer with ransomware, demanding a $50 million payment to decrypt the computer's giant files. The compromised documents include financial spreadsheets, bank balances, and banking communications. The cybercriminals may have capitalized on the recent Microsoft Exchange server exploits to gain access to the Taiwanese electronic maker, according to Bleeping Computer, which first reported the news on Friday. This $50 million ransom demand is the largest publicly known request to date. Acer has not officially confirmed the attack, but told Bleeping Computer it reported recent abnormal situations to the relevant authorities. Revil, a ransomware group believed to operate out of Russia, published images of stolen files on Thursday as proof of its attack. It reportedly offered Acer a 20% discount on the ransom fee if it paid up by the 17th of March. A tactic commonly employed by ransomware gangs. In 2020, Acer reported gross annual profits of Taiwanese $30.12 billion, which is $1.6 billion. Ransomware gangs are known to tailor their demands based on the size of a company to maximize the chance of payout, as well as increase the size of profits. It is unclear whether Acer has or intends to pay the ransom fee. Verdict has contacted Acer for comment but did not receive a reply at the time of publication. Jack Dorsey's first ever tweet sells for $2.9 million. In an online auction hosted on Valuables, a Malaysian-based buyer named Sina Estevi bought Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey's first ever tweet for $2.9 million. Dorsey, who received 95% of the sale, said he was giving the proceeds to Give Directly's Africa Response Fund. The tweet was sold as a non-fungible token, which is a unique digital certificate that verifies the tweet as a digital artifact and Estevi as its owner. Dorsey's first tweet read, "Just setting up my Twitter." Regarding this purchase, Estevi tweeted, "This is not just a tweet. I think years later people will realize the true value of this tweet, like the Mona Lisa painting." Read more on BBC News. Guaranteed, if this were my first tweet, it wouldn't raise a plug nickel. Facebook engages with outrage. In an MIT Tech Review article that focused on the efforts of Facebook AI director Joaquin Quinonero, the author claims she learned that any attempt at staunching the flow of misinformation and otherwise discouraging extremism on Facebook is met with opposition internally because users' outrage increases engagement. The author notes that CEO Mark Zuckerberg's single motivation is unending growth. And as such, anything that hampers that growth goes against the grain of the company's culture. Quinonero is a leading figure on the company's responsible AI team, but the team's focus seems to be squelching AI-based and not adjusting algorithms to snuff out extremism and misinformation. U.S. shoppers can now buy a Tesla with a Bitcoin. You can buy a Tesla with Bitcoin, CEO Elon Musk tweeted this week, noting in a follow-up tweet that the purchase capability will be available outside the U.S. later this year. The company has also invested $1.5 billion into the cryptocurrency, which sent the price of Bitcoin to an all-time high of $56,000. Tesla terms and conditions caution customers to be very careful when conducting a Bitcoin transaction, noting in all caps that Bitcoin transaction cannot be reversed. And if you input the Bitcoin address incorrectly, your Bitcoin may be irretrievably lost or destroyed. For more, see The Verge. The FBI claims that cybercrime complaints are up. The FBI Internet Crime Complaint Center receives nearly 800,000 complaints about cybercrime last year, more than two-thirds of a jump from what was seen in 2019. About a third of these complaints are from phishing attacks. The report summarizes data submitted by the general public and businesses on its website portal and is produced each year. Over $4 billion in losses attributable to these complaints was calculated, the most ever for what has been seen in one of these reports. The biggest takeaway for business owners is that half of these losses are caused by business email compromised attacks. That means a criminal impersonated one of your executives' email accounts and got a victim to send them money. Typically, the funds are sent to a bank account controlled by the attacker in the guise of paying for what appeared to be a legitimate business invoice. Fighting this fraud isn't hard. You just have to be careful, and you should employ multiple factor authentication and have multiple signatories for payment processing. If your accounts are compromised, contact your bank immediately and file a complaint with the IC3, including your banking information. Also, never make any payment account charges without first verifying them with the recipient, says the FBI in its report. And that wraps up this week's Avast Security News Roundup. Stay safe, stay secure. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Well, so the bad guys are still winning, eh, Bob?
Unfortunately, yep.
Rats. Okay, Dewey.
Morning, friends. This is Dewey, and my Tech Talk topic for today is cord cutters and TV streaming news. So let's talk about cord cutters and TV streamers. These two labels are certainly related, but aren't necessarily the same. Not all cord cutters become TV streamers. Some of them cut the cord simply to save money. Some may use a TV antenna to receive a bunch of broadcast TV channels for free, or use Lowcast for $5.50 a month. Of course, most cord cutters do switch to TV streaming eventually, and some subscribe to a paid streaming service that often costs less than cable or satellite TV. Nor are all TV streamers cord cutters. In fact, I'd wager that most young people starting out on their own never even had a cable to cut. They've been streaming TV from the internet for several years and probably taught their parents about TV streaming. Now, some TV streamers are so into it that they even subscribe to free weekly cord-cutting newsletters. Yours truly does. Two of the most popular newsletters are Cord Cutter Weekly and Cord Cutters News. It's safe to say that Cord Cutter Weekly, Cutter is singular, is the largest and best known cord cutting newsletter. Cord Cutter Weekly also produces several videos each week that appear on YouTube. Their well-known logo is at the right. Take a look at it. You'll see it often. Both interesting and confusing is that Cord Cutter Weekly's frequent YouTube videos are listed under the name of Cord Cutters, plural, News. It's the name of its smaller rival's newsletter. That's interesting. Go figure. Though Jared Newman's Cord Cutters News has fewer subscribers and may not have a logo, I think his newsletter is very good. Also, it periodically contains valuable charts comparing streaming services, streaming devices, and other aspects of streaming TV. In fact, some of my Tech Talk information today is taken from a recent edition of Jared's Cord Cutters newsletter. Continuing on, Google's YouTube TV has added the rest of the Viacom CBS-owned channels that it first announced for the service way back in May of 2020. These channels include BET Her, Dabble, MTV2, MTV Classic, Nick Jr., Nicktoons, and Teen Nick. Now, the first batch of these channels, including Nickelodeon, BET, and Comedy Central, among others, arrived on YouTube TV last July alongside of a $15 a month price hike. Now, YouTube TV costs $64.99, $65 a month. The NFL has announced a flurry of deals with TV networks governing the next decade of broadcasting rights, and it presents a mixed picture for the unbundling of sports. Amazon will now carry all Thursday night football games on Prime. That's new. But the NFL Network will get a new batch of games on Saturdays. Peacock Streaming will stream select Sunday night games on its service, but other games will remain exclusive to NBC. ESPN now has the right to simulcast Monday night football games on ESPN Plus. However, this may not actually happen for several years. The only clear case of unbundling comes from Paramount Plus, which will offer CBS games to subscribers, just as CBS All Access has done in previous years. The last remaining wild card is NFL Sunday Ticket, which will remain with DirecTV through 2022. Rumors this week that ESPN is snatching up those rights are most likely unfounded. But either way, it looks like you'll continue to need an antenna or lowcast to get thorough NFL coverage for the foreseeable future. In several recent Tech Talks, I spoke about lowcast, the streaming service that streams local broadcast TV channels to subscribers in 30 large U.S. market areas for a $5.50 monthly donation. It's free if you could tolerate a commercial every 10, 15 minutes. Well, Intrado Global News Service announced last week that Lowcast has just added the Portland, Oregon market area with 3 million people to its service, making it the 31st Lowcast market area. Now, Lowcast now serves about half of the United States' 330 million plus population. Several screens back, I mentioned Cord Cutters Weekly's regular YouTube videos that appear under the label of Cord Cutters News. And there, Cord Cutters is plural. On March 25th, Cord Cutters News host Philip Palermo devoted an entire 18-minute program to Lowcast, how it works, supported cities, and more. It was very well done. Like I just say in the next paragraph, this YouTube video was exceptionally well done. And I'd suggest if you're interested in Lowcast, you search YouTube using the title above, Lowcast, how it works, etc., or the words Cord Cutter Weekly. I guess that's Cord Cutters Weekly, isn't it? Back to sports news. CordCuttersNews.com reports that Sinclair Radio Networks, which was formerly Fox Regional Sports Networks, will rebrand as Bally Sports on March 31. With the rebranding, 2 channels are being retired: Fox Sports Carolinas and Fox Sports Tennessee. Also, Nashville Predators and Carolina Hurricanes content will now be found on Bally Sports South and Bally Sports Southeast, respectively. 2 other channels will get new names based on their locations. Prime Ticket will become Bally Sports SoCal, or Southern California, and Sports Time Ohio will become Bally Sports Great Lakes. 19 of the Sinclair-owned channels will have new Bally names like Bally Sports Arizona, Bally Sports Florida, Bally Sports North, and so forth. You can simply Google Bally Sports to see the complete list. But here's a map showing Bally's coverage. Let you concentrate on that for a moment. So you can check your area. I see Minnesota is covered. Finally, a reminder that on March 26th, the price of Disney Plus increased to $8 per month or $80 a year. That's rounding off, up from $7 per month currently. If you like the service enough to keep it year-round, it'll cost you $100 a year. Meanwhile, Amazon is running a promotion where you can receive a month of Paramount Plus through Prime Video channels for free. It's a heck of a deal. Just hit Get Started and select the ad-supported plan to pay nothing. Well, that's my Tech Talk story for today, and I'm sticking with it. Thanks for watching. Stay safe and have a great day.
Well, thank you, Dewey. Thanks so much. Let me just click out of that. That's great. Thank you. Now, just to let everyone know, all Dewey segments now are available on our YouTube channel as a standalone or as an individual YouTube video. So if you want to use these for your computer clubs, you want to play them as segments, feel free. They're all available now on the, as I mentioned, on our YouTube channel under Tech for Senior videos. And so you can see Dewey's programs there, and that'll work out quite well. Now let me just come back and have a look here. Come back and let me get mine teed up. We're going to play now the last part of my.
It's Ron Brown.
Hold on. We're going to play the
First
last
of support calls
the last
to
part
the
of
powerful signal and to the next adapter. Plug another device into the house. Example of homes, and this.
Okay, so here we go. This is the last part. This is part
this will
3
effectively
of our
make it quite easy to
routers.
Get signals to all parts of your house. Now, for large homes, you should consider a mesh router. I have a mesh router. I use a system called the Orbi. It's made by Netgear. These are adaptable to any size of your house. They are purchased by the square footage of your coverage you want. We'll talk a bit about that in a minute. The firmware is done automatically. There's no loss of speed with nodes. And there's a single SSD for the entire house. And we'll talk a bit about that as well. And they broadcast in 2.4 and 2. We are going to take this mesh router system and put it in a 3-story house. The base station will go on the first floor, the first satellite will go on the second floor, and the second satellite on the third floor. Let's have a look and see how this is going to look. Here's our 3-story house. On the third floor, we have kids playing 4K games. On the second floor, we have Mom, who's a teacher, doing a Zoom conference. On the first floor, we have Dad checking email. If we look at the bandwidth requirements, I've allocated this as roughly 60, 30, and 10 as a distribution. If we look at internet speed, if we look at the speed of how you would be allocating this frequency in this, you'll see on the left side, you'll see with an extender, as we move up, it would certainly be a decreasing speed. With a mesh system, it's the same. What the mesh system does do, though, is it reallocates the bandwidth and will selectively make the bandwidth higher priority for the 2 kids playing 4K video games with their televisions. Now let's look at things change. The kids go to sleep, and now we have mom who's doing the conference and dad checking email. There is a reallocation of bandwidth. And again, I've split it about 80-20. And this is exactly what the mesh router would reallocate to allow the effective use of the system. This is a big advantage of a mesh router system. All right, how does the mesh router system adjust the workflow to the demand? This is done through what we call a backhaul channel. So for example, with my Orbi, I have a 2.4 gigahertz frequency, but I have 2 5 gigahertz frequencies. So it uses one of the 5 gigahertz frequencies to fill and move the data to points in the system that require it. Now a little trick is that if you do have a mesh router system, you have a number of satellite units in your house, and you're using it wirelessly, but you also can connect that to a wired internet connection in your house, you should do so. Because then the backhaul channel can actually be a wired connection. It doesn't have to be wireless. And that means you just plug it into the back of your mesh router. So that is one of the huge advantages in a mesh router system, is the good coverage and the selective movement of workflow data that you need depending on what the demand is at that time. So you might want to give it a consideration. Now I wanted to review the USB ports on your computer. This is important and a place where you can make a big mistake. In this current slide, you'll see my laptop. I have an IBM ThinkPad, and you'll see on the side, you'll see it has a HDMI port, but it has 2 USB ports. Now on the other side, which you can't see, there's 1 USB port, so I have 3 USB ports on this laptop. The important thing that you need to know is that all USB ports are not the same. And I have a docking station that I plug into one of my USB ports. This docking station has all my monitors coming into it. It has my internet coming in, and this all connects into one of my USB ports. Well, on the right side of my computer, on the laptop, is a USB 2 port. The 2 on the left side of my computer are USB 3.1. Now, what's the difference? Well, there's a big difference, and in the diagram here, you'll see some different types of USB ports. Now, I have a whole series of 15 slides on the numbering nomenclature for USB ports. You don't want to see it. You'll never remember it. It's really complicated, and the little symbols are so small, it's really hard to see them. But there actually is a labeling system you can use for this. The easiest way to do it is simply to get your instruction manual for your computer and look, and it will tell you what the ports are on your computer because it depends on what you want to plug in. For example, if you have a mouse, you would want to plug it in, if you're using it as a wired connection, into USB 2. It doesn't use much power, it doesn't need to be fast, but if you had an external hard drive, you want to plug it into your fast port. Now this gets more complicated if you have, I just bought a new computer from Dell. It has 12 USB ports. It has a Thunderbolt port. It has 4 ports on the front and 8 ports on the back, USB ports. So you need to know what those ports are because it can save you a lot of money. For example, let's talk about USB Thunderbolt 3. Now, most of you won't have a Thunderbolt 3 port. This is sort of unusual on a laptop, but I do have a Thunderbolt 3 on my main computer I just bought. And it is the fastest data transfer on USB, and it's 40 gigabytes per second. So it's an extremely fast transfer. So if you had a Thunderbolt USB port on your your computer and you wanted to buy a Thunderbolt drive, for example, you connect them to, you have a very, very, very fast system. But most people won't have Thunderbolt 3, but you will have USB 3.1, and the transfer of USB 3.1 is 5 gigabits per second. But now, sneaky coming up here, there's a new standard coming out, and it's 3.1 generation 2, and that is 10 gigabits per second. Well, what's the difference? Big deal. USB 3.1, that's both there, but one's generation 1 and one's generation 2. Well, I just bought a 2 terabyte hard drive, an SSD external hard drive. And in the options, I had the choice of choosing between 2 different models. And there was about $150 difference between the 2 models, and it was based on transfer speed. And because my laptop is limited to the 3.1 generation 1 at 5 gigabits per second, it would have been no use whatsoever to spend the extra $150 to buy the more expensive solid state drive. So again, you need to know what ports you're using and what the labeling of the ports is, for sure, because they're not all equal. And you want to be careful what you plug in, because you don't want to be plugging your fast SSD external hard drive into your slowest port. So please have a look at that, check your manual, and review the USB ports on your computer. All right, in closing, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about Wi-Fi 6. This is a new standard that you'll be seeing available on routers when you go to Best Buy and buy them. So should you purchase Wi-Fi 6 or not? Well, for sure it is going to be more expensive, but there's something I want you to consider. As we move ahead, you'll find that the speed at which we are receiving internet signal is going up considerably. And you all understand that. In fact, it's quite common now to be able to get a gigabit service to your house. A lot of what we do in our homes requires Wi-Fi, and we're transferring data back and forth. And you all understand, of course, that to transfer data faster, Wi-Fi has to be better, because it could be the slowest part of your system, and so you wouldn't be able to get benefit from a very fast internet supply. And I think you all understand that. So yes, we have to move ahead with Wi-Fi so that we're able to transmit faster speeds. One of the things that's important that's a change between Wi-Fi 5 and Wi-Fi 6 is simply this. In this video, I pointed out all the benefits of 5 gigahertz, right? Remember that? It's in a smaller room, it's less interference, and we already discussed that. And we discussed the problems of network congestion on the 2.4 gigahertz. What Wi-Fi 6 does, Wi-Fi 5 only was involved in the 5 gigahertz. But Wi-Fi 6 now is taking the 2.4 gigahertz, the slower speed that we talked about, and it's dramatically increasing the speed of 2.4 gigahertz. So the beauty of 2.4 gigahertz is it goes much farther. But we always wanted to use the 5 because it's much faster. But with Wi-Fi 6, this is all changing, and this is going to have a big effect on the speed of your system. So I think even though, yes, everything is going to have to convert to Wi-Fi 6. It'll be backwards compatible. Yes, your computer will have to have Wi-Fi 6 in it. Your Internet of Things devices will have to have Wi-Fi 6. And of course, your router will have to be a Wi-Fi 6 enabled. But this is a standard that's going to quickly transform into most of the routers that we purchase. They are more expensive. If you go to buy an Orbi system now that have Wi-Fi 6 in it, you're going to be paying about $150 more. I do think, though, that this is quickly going to change, and this is going to be the standard with some pretty big advantages. So you might want to consider this in your purchase of your next router.
Okay. So that's the last of the 3-part series, and that's available on our YouTube channel as the whole video, which is about a 35-minute video. And you've seen parts 1, 2, and 3 now. So if you want to play it again or use it in any of your computer clubs, that's you can do that, and that's great. All right, Hewie, are you ready to roll? What have you got for us today?
I don't know.
Oh, that's not the answer I wanted.
Last week I talked about having Bluetooth connectivity. Hang on a second here. This is part 2 of 2. I'm Hewie Poplock. Bluetooth, more than you need to know. Whoops. In order to take advantage of Bluetooth 5, you'll need new Bluetooth 5 gear. But the devices you connect to have to use Bluetooth 5 compatible hardware as well. That means Bluetooth 5 headphones, smart home devices, speakers, mice, keyboards, whatever. Bluetooth 5 is quickly becoming the norm. It's backwards compatible. The good news is Bluetooth 5 hardware is fully backward compatible with prior versions of Bluetooth. Your Bluetooth 5 phone will have no problem at all with working with all the Bluetooth headphones, speakers, fitness trackers, automobiles, and everything else out there. You won't get any of the benefits of the new technology, though it will work as if you didn't have Bluetooth 5 capability in your phone, tablet, or computer at all. The Bluetooth 5 spec allows low energy transmissions to sacrifice data rate for more range. A lot more range, up to 4 times the range of Bluetooth 4.2 LE, for a maximum of around 800 feet. That's a theoretical maximum, mind you. In the real world, you can expect much less, though it's still going to be a huge improvement over older versions of Bluetooth. You won't get that kind of range all the time on all devices. Developers have to consciously choose to sacrifice total bandwidth for range, but it's perfect for many Internet of Things or IoT devices, which often transmit small amounts of data but need to reach all over a house or a large store. In addition to the capability to sacrifice bandwidth for greatly extended range, Bluetooth 5 adds a new interface to double bandwidth at the expense of power. This new physical layer, PHY, supports speeds of up to 2 megabits per second and higher transmission power of 20 dB in low energy mode. In other words, the new Bluetooth version offers 2 interfaces for low energy operation, one to transmit less data over a much longer distance, and one to transmit twice the data over a shorter range. This is great news for devices that need to transmit bursts of large amounts of data, like a firmware update, or for data-hungry applications like audio or video. It also means that we may one day see Bluetooth headphones that use the low energy spec, which could massively increase battery life. Bluetooth 5 adds enhancements to low energy operation in addition to the optional higher bandwidth or longer range connections. For example, it brings an 8-fold increase in broadcast data efficiency. That means essentially 8 times as many connected devices. Collectively, Bluetooth 1.0 to Bluetooth version 3.0 is known as Classic Bluetooth. From Bluetooth version 4.0 onwards, it is known as Bluetooth Low Energy, BLE, or Smart Bluetooth. The Bluetooth technology has improved a lot, and the future of this technology looks great. The best part is that the latest versions of Bluetooth are all backward compatible with older versions. That means you can connect a Bluetooth device supporting an older version using a device that supports the latest versions. However, you will be limited to the features supported by the older version. Still, it makes sense to buy the products which support the latest Bluetooth versions. The dual audio feature of Bluetooth 5.0 is particularly interesting for people who love using wireless headphones. Also, don't settle for anything less than Bluetooth 4.2 nowadays, as without the BLE, the battery life of the Bluetooth device would be really bad. A set of earphones can connect to a laptop, a computer, an iPad, a PSP, a Sony, Samsung, Lenovo, Nokia, Moto, and iPhone. Bluetooth is a wireless technology that has been around for 20 years. It allows multiple devices to connect, interact, and sync without needing to set up complex networks and passwords. Bluetooth is everywhere these days, from mobile phones to laptops and even car stereos. Bluetooth supports a wide variety of different devices and can be set up in just a few minutes. Bluetooth is a wireless technology that allows two different devices to connect. Every Bluetooth device has one or more profiles installed. These profiles determine what device is capable of, such as hands-free mobile headsets or human interface device, a computer mouse. In order for two devices to connect, they must both have the same profile. You can generally tell what devices will work with each other by looking at them logically. You wouldn't be able to pair a mouse with a camera since the camera isn't designed to be controlled by the mouse. On the other hand, it would make sense to connect a headset to a mobile phone since they are designed to work together. The most common pairings. If you're unsure as to whether your device will work together, there are several cases where Bluetooth use is very popular. Knowing these can help you determine how to connect your devices. Connecting a hands-free headset to a mobile phone. Connecting wireless mice, keyboards, and printers to laptops and other computers. Connecting portable media players and smartphones to speakers and car stereos. Wirelessly connecting video game controllers to computers and game consoles. The method to connect two devices will vary in every situation, but it generally follows the same basic process. You will need to make one device discoverable and then search for devices with the second device. For example, if you wanted to connect a headset to your smartphone, you would put the headset into the discovery mode, refer to its documentation, and then search for discoverable devices on your smartphone. You may also be asked to enter a PIN when connecting your devices. If you don't know the PIN, it's generally 0000, 1111, or 1234. This can vary for some devices, and if you can't find it, you may need to reset the device. Once your devices are connected, you can start using them in conjunction. For example, you may have connected your smartphone to some wireless speakers, allowing you to play music through them. You may have connected a mouse to your laptop, and now you can use your mouse to move the cursor. When connecting a Bluetooth device to a computer, you may need to install the drivers for the device. This is usually done automatically, though. The device may have come with a driver installation disk. You can also download drivers from the manufacturer's website. There is no general Bluetooth driver, only drivers for specific devices. If you want to connect a Bluetooth device to a desktop PC, chances are the desktop PC does not have Bluetooth functionality. You will need to purchase and install a Bluetooth USB dongle in order to connect devices to the PC. Most laptops and virtually all Macs have Bluetooth support built in. There are some guides on WikiHow that will help you. If you're having difficulty pairing your devices, there are a variety of articles on WikiHow that can help you get it all sorted out. Here is a Bluetooth dongle version 5.0. It will support devices to connect at the same time, a mouse, a keyboard, printer, headset, and speaker, for instance. There's also a Bluetooth 5.0 transmitter. It will receive or send Bluetooth signals. It sells for under $50. Don't forget that Bluetooth can be hacked. Bluetooth can be hacked while using this technology has offered a lot of creative comforts. It also exposed people to cyber attacks. Almost all devices are Bluetooth enabled, from smartphones to cars. People are surrounded by this technology every single day. But what many don't realize is that using a Bluetooth connection comes with a host of security and privacy risks. Bluetooth allows devices to link to each other over very short distances, often for a short period only. As such, most Bluetooth hackers rely on getting within a close range of a target and performing the attack in a limited time frame. Crowded public areas are known hotspots for Bluetooth hackers, especially those places where people tend to stay for longer, i.e., coffee shops. When the target moves out of range, it might seem like it's game over for the attacker. It is important to note that some attacks can be carried out even from hundreds of feet away. So moving a few feet isn't exactly moving out of range. Some cyber criminals have also found a way to hack into a device's Bluetooth connection and take control of the device, all in just 10 seconds. What's even more alarming is that hackers can do this without interacting with the user. So, how to protect yourself from Bluetooth hackers? Turn off your Bluetooth when you're not using it. Don't share sensitive information when you are. Change Bluetooth settings to not discoverable. Be careful who you pair with. Avoid pairing devices in public. Don't forget to unpair and install patches and updates. Okay, what's the difference between these two items, other than the color and the markings? Well, one is a 4.2 Bluetooth head piece or headset. The other is 5.0. How could you tell? Well, you can't by just looking at them. But one is a Bluetooth 4.2, the other is 5.0. The transmission distance about the same. Playing and talk time, though, even though the one for the Y12 says it's less than 4 hours, it turns out to be less than 2 hours. However, on the F88 that I have, I can get more than 9 hours. Standby time, that means where you're not using it, it's on, but nothing is going through it. There's 160 hours on the Y12, over 200 hours on the F88. And the charging time is about between an hour and a half and 2 hours for either one of them. So this has been Bluetooth Connectivity. I'm Hewie Poplock. Thanks for joining. There you go. You're muted, Ron.
Hewie?
Yes.
There you go.
If I can interject one thing, the Bluetooth hack that you were talking about, if you're still on an Android device using something less than version 10, make sure that you can upgrade, because anything below 10 is very susceptible to that near hack.
I think there's going to be lots of questions about this, and we'll refer those over in our question and answer part, because I want to get Ray going now. And I want to thank everybody on our live streaming service for coming. We'll see you next week, same time, same place. Please watch us on Thursday morning for our Tech for Senior Live. We're going to try. Anyway, we'll see you next week. Ray, take it away.
All right, here we go. All right. Moving into the 1960s, as I promised, let's start off with Bob Dylan. And I want to talk about his music festivals. Now, music festivals are quite common, but such events devoted just to one single artist, probably not so much. But how about a singer that has at least 3 annual festivals? That would be Bob Dylan. There may be more than 3. I'm just not aware of them. So the 3 main ones, there's one called the Duluth Dylan Fest. And this is held from May 22 to May 30th. Those dates are special. It's actually held in the Minnesota city where Dylan was born. He later was raised in Hibbing, but he was actually born in Duluth. And his birth name was Robert Allen Zimmerman. And this year we'll celebrate, ready for this, his 80th birthday on May 24th. Now, a little bit of trivia I always like to provide. The stage surname that Bob chose was for famed poet Dylan Thomas. Then there's the Dylan Fest 2021. This is actually taking place in August 26th to the 29th in Mulville, Ireland. Now, this was started back in 2007, and acts from all over Europe come to play, and this attracts visitors from around the world. Now, this year, for the first time, the event will be live streamed. But the one that has been around the longest, and to me the best one, is the Dylan Fest in America. Starting in 1991, it's been every year held consecutively, and they've been holding their annual shows hosted by Andy Hill and Renee Safer. And it's an 8-hour event. Now, last year, because of the pandemic, they actually live streamed it on YouTube over a 3-day period. And the entire YouTube Dylan Fest 30, as it was called, is available on YouTube to watch. This year, Dylan Fest 31 is scheduled for September 25, and it's going to be held at the Torrance Cultural Arts Center in California. Now, no matter what you think of Bob Dylan's voice, credit is certainly due when someone wins the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2012 and follows that with the 2016 Nobel Prize for Literature for having created new poetic expressions within the great American song tradition. So if you're as much of a Dylan fan as I am, you may want to mark some of these dates in your calendar, because thanks to today's technology, these live stream events can bring the music to you while sitting in your favorite easy chair. So today's musical clip is the song It Ain't Me, Babe, performed by Andy and Renee from Dylan Fest 2015. Let me now optimize for video. Yes.
Perfect. Those kids are looking a lot younger.
Well, yes, they're not going to turn 80 in May, but it's I think, you know, having a festival like that is great. And again, as I said before, with today's technology, just to be sitting home and watching that, I think is great.
Amazing, eh? Yeah, crazy good. Thanks so much, Ray. That's good. And the video call is pretty good. It streamed nicely. It was okay.
Yeah, I took your advice and saved it to my hard drive, and then was able to play it from my hard drive.
Yeah, that worked great. Yeah, good idea. Yep, great idea. Great. Thanks for everyone. It's now top of the hour. It's actually a little past top of the hour. We will we'll end the formal meeting now, and we'll see everybody back next week, same time, same place. Stick around for the question and answer part now. Remember, if you Thursday morning, there'll be 3 lonely people talking to themselves at 9 o'clock in the morning. And so if you want to come and keep us company, you know, that's great. Otherwise, we'll see you next Monday. To start the question and answer period now, as we've said in the past, if you have questions, it's really helpful if you can go down to the breakout or go down to the reactions and click on reactions. You'll see that there's a raise hand feature. If you raise your hand, then that brings you up to, because we have about just under 90 people still in the room, so I can't see all the screens. So if you raise your hand, then that'll pop you up into our screen, and we can sort of answer and acknowledge you. If that doesn't work, scream, yell, help, you know, whatever, and we'll turn you on and get you going. So Bob, you want to start it out with, you got a question or an answer?
I have a comment to make for Dewey. Cord Cutter News, or CCN, is much more informative and less biased than CNN.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Thanks. Chris Rosinski. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm trying to get it turned on here. I have one question. Lowcast is only available in certain cities. And I'm not sure what that means, but we travel a lot. So the question is, if I go to a city where Lowcast isn't available, can I fake out Lowcast with a VPN? I know some things block that, and I don't know how Lowcast works. Anybody know the answer to that?
Dewey?
Well, somebody answered it today in the chat, and it has to do that the VPN actually will go to the city where the VPN originates from it, so it doesn't work.
Okay. All right, Susan, go ahead.
Yes, I have an iPhone and an iPad, and I have some wireless earphones. I can get it on my iPhone fine using Bluetooth, but when I try to use them on my iPad, it doesn't work. Do I have to turn my iPhone Bluetooth off so that it'll work on my iPad? I don't know.
You don't have to.
It doesn't seem to want to work on my iPad.
Is it paired to the iPad?
Yes, it is.
It may be the version of Bluetooth that you're using. Is it also connected to the other device at the same time?
Yes, yes. Well, yes.
Yeah, I would turn it off. You don't have to disconnect it, but on the other device, I would turn it off. I would turn off Bluetooth, and I bet it would work.
Okay, I'll try that. Thanks.
If that doesn't work, try unpairing it. You can always pair it again.
Oh, you can? Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can pair it again, but I would just turn off the Bluetooth on the other device, and so it's only going to the iPad, and I bet it will work.
I'll try that. Thanks.
Great. Chris Gould, welcome. And if you do not know, this is a celebrity. Chris has that famous show called The Button Show on Sunday, right?
What does this button do?
What does this button do? Yes, you watch it every week.
Well, that's tough because I don't do it every week anymore.
Oh,
Getting a little bit lazy. But and I enjoy learning new things, which is why I pop in here once in a while. I have a question. I put it in the chat about streaming services. I subscribe to several, and I recently got the Google TV. You know, it's the latest Chromecast, the Chromecast with Google TV. It has its own remote and everything. And my understanding from the advertising was that it would keep track of my preferences across all the different streaming services. I am not finding that to be true. So if anybody knows, I mean, I find something I like to watch, and I watched one last night. Now I want to watch the next one. I don't even remember, you know, I was watching something cool last night. I don't remember what it was called. I don't remember which service it was on, but I want Google TV to tell me what my history was, you know, what was I watching last night? And it doesn't seem to do that. Anybody?
Chris, did you by any chance turn off that feature in Google where it can track across all devices? Because it's a setting. And if you have it turned off, then it will not.
Not that I know of. You know, I've pretty much.
I just put a video on our Facebook channel on how to turn that off so it doesn't track you. And I got a hunch maybe you might have turned it off. And if that's the case, then no, it will not. It will not follow you across all devices or have the information available on all devices.
Okay, well, it's not multiple devices. It's just my TV, one device, and the one Google TV, but multiple streaming services.
Chris, I think if you go up and look someplace, there's a watch, and you can click on the watch and it'll show you exactly what it is. That's what we do.
Well, I can find my watch list for each service, You know, I can go to HBO and see my watch list. I can go to Netflix and see my watch list, but I can't just go to the Google TV home screen and see all of my watch list from across. And I thought that's what it was supposed to be able to do. But
Well,
I will still look for that. I will look in settings. There's always more settings.
I think what Bob is referring to, I'm guessing, everything has to be paired to Google.
Well, I'm okay.
Anyway, let me give you a little report on Starlink. My upload speed or my download speed is 238, and my upload speed was this morning was 35. So everything's going good. Ron called me, and Ron and I had a little conversation, and I think that we're not going to really do all the suggestions that Ron made, but I think I'm going to try to go to Best Buy and see about that Orbi and see if that might help our stuff. It's now buffering on everything, Ron.
Okay. All right. So let's see, Chris, do you have another question? Chris Rosinski, did you just leave your hand up, or have you got a?
I just lowered it.
Sorry, Ron, I didn't put my hand down, sorry.
Okay, and Susan, did you have your, no, you just, okay. Alan.
Delighted to hear that you're going forward with TFS for the future.
Yeah, season 2.
I'm wondering whether or not Chromebooks episodes will continue going forward as well.
Yes, they will. They will. Q and I are planning that on a long-term basis. And we will be doing that once a month. And I think we've got six months now of Chromebooks, so we'll be doing that. Yeah, for sure. And then someone mentioned about the numbering. They said it's season 2, episode 1. I knew I was going to get that question. I knew that was going to come up. You know, when I listened to Leo Laporte on his Twit network, you know, he always is saying, he does it, and he keeps the episode 3,246, right? And so it's fun when you say that, because it means you've got all those episodes. Plus, the other problem is, if it was season 2, episode 1, every time we want to find something, you're going to need 2 numbers. And I thought, this is going to get complicated. So I thought it's real simple, just to keep the numbering going up, but we'll just call it season 2, episode 63. So I know that's the reason I decided to do it that way. Yes, and any other questions? I have a question for Chris.
Which Chris?
Chris Gould.
Okay. Which Chris?
So when I want to, so this is a StreamYard question. If I want to book on Thursday morning for our talk, if I want to schedule that, do I have to schedule it in YouTube, or can I do that through StreamYard, so that there's an item up there that says we're going to do the talk? Do you know, is that?
Yeah, you do it. The best way is through StreamYard.
StreamYard allow you to book it then?
Yeah. Now I don't actually, that's Jim's area. But,
yeah, that's Jim, but you do.
But I know he futzed with it both ways, and it's doing it through StreamYard. The only thing is you have to do it within 1 week or something like that. I mean, so you can't schedule them all the way out,
okay.
but you can in StreamYard, and then tell it that you're going to stream out to YouTube and Facebook or whatever.
Good. Excellent. Thank you. That's the question I wanted. I was going to phone you today about that. I'm glad you're here. That's great. Yeah.
Good. Jim's out diving.
Oh, is he? Lobster tonight? Lobster tonight?
Lobster tonight. Yeah.
I'm coming for dinner.
I'll be there too.
Yeah. I think you've probably got, let's see, we've got 79 people still on here. We're all coming over for dinner.
He better get a lot of lobsters, probably over the limit.
Dorothy from Victoria.
Hi, everyone. Just a quick question to Hewie. Is there any way I can tell what version of Bluetooth is on my devices?
I don't know that. Try to find the box. That's what I did for those 2 headpieces. But I don't know if there's a way that you can, as far as I know, no.
Yeah.
There's not.
Well, the headset is on my Android phone and in the Bluetooth, and it doesn't tell me any version or the settings. So okay, no problem.
Yeah. If it doesn't work, it's not it's not compatible.
Yeah.
And even though I said in there that in most cases they'll work, it's backward compatible. There
Yeah.
are some that just will not talk to each other. I've had some mice that I just couldn't make work on a Chromebook, and yet other mice work fine.
Okay, thank you.
Jim Copeland. Unmute
You're
yourself.
muted.
There you go.
Yes, I just tried, and as soon as I connect my iPods to my phone, they disconnect from my iPad.
Ah, okay. So you can't have it connected to both at the same time?
No.
Okay, so that answers the other question. Thanks, Jim. Great. And Irving.
Hi there. My question relates to the discussion about the ports, and I'm looking. I have a hub, and it says it'll take 3.0. What's the difference between 3.0 and 3.1?
What's the difference? I'll have to look that up. I'm not sure. What I showed you today was the difference between 3.1 and was it 3.2? I think so.
Generation 1, generation
1 and generation 2. You know, again,
Yeah.
I got to look it up. I'm sorry if you drop me an email on that. I can tell you I got to look it up. I've got a big piece of paper that has all these conversions, and I can tell that's well known, but I just don't have that information on the tip of my fingers. Okay. But
Isn't 3.1
Okay.
isn't 3.1 the C, and 3.0 is the old B, but it's going to be one of the faster speeds of it. And I think
Correct.
it'll have
yeah,
a
that's
blue,
probably, yeah,
and
Correct.
it has a blue piece of plastic in it, not white.
right.
3.1, you can also, doesn't matter how you insert it. And 3.0 is still the old, you have to have it inserted the correct way, but it's
With
the faster
flat plastic,
technology.
yeah.
Yeah.
And usually the 3.0.
Okay, so I see the difference on. Yeah, I see the difference on this hub here. They have the blue ones, and so you see you can't insert it either way. And I get the picture now.
Irving, we're having really hard time hearing you because you're breaking up. I think it's an internet connection thing. But
if you turn your video off, we probably can hear your audio better.
yeah. But yeah, so the goal of that was just to make sure that everybody plugs on your computer. You will undoubtedly have a number of different ports, and it's important for you to know that the ports are not all equal, and you want to make sure you plug the right thing into the right port. Otherwise, you may be just wasting your, like plugging your mouse into a fast port and plugging your hard drive into a slow port wouldn't be the way to do it. So that's the thing that I wanted to make sure that everybody understands. And really, there are little labels that go on all these ports. And if you want to look at, there's an article I have with 30 different of these labels. You'll never remember them all, and they're all weird, and you need a magnifying glass on the side of your computer to see all these labels. So the only real way, I think, is to get your instruction manual out and have a look at it, and have a look, make sure you're plugging them into the right ports.
At least usually the two are either black or white, and the blue and the ones that are blue are the 3, and up to 3.0. And then, as you say, the 3.1, that's the one where it's the C type vector.
Well, it's also generation 1 and generation 2, which is, yeah. So it depends. It depends.
The other thing you need to look at too is in using your USB plugs with a charging block. You've got to check the volt amp of the charging block, because some phones and some iPads require more volt amps than other devices, and sometimes you either don't have enough, or it takes a lot longer for it to charge.
Right. And I think our last question will be Jim Glass. Jim, what do you have the final comment, the final word today? First in and first out, right?
Yeah, well, it's not a question, it's just a comment. My eyes are so bad these days, I can't see the markings on the computer for these various ports. So I just got a new computer. So it looks like it's got acne because I use my label machine and put a label for each one of those ports so I can see what they are. And I also put the label on the device that goes into those ports.
Right.
Makes it a lot easier, especially when you have to take it all apart and put it back together.
Right.
That little bitty label machine is
works well. That's right.
Well worth its price.
Yeah. Absolutely. Bill George had a final question.
Oh, I just wanted to mention the on the Macintosh, you can tell what version of USB you have if you go to Preferences About This Mac and then a System Report, and you can find the Bluetooth Core specifications on there. Mine happens to be 5.0.
Thanks, Bill. And Greg, did you have one last comment?
Well, I was just going to say to Jim, most of us got bigger magnifying glasses.
All right. Listen, everyone, on that very nice note, thanks for everyone for coming. It's been a great show. If you want to listen to three old guys talking on Thursday morning, please come along and keep us company. We'll provide the coffee. You don't have to worry. And we will see everybody next week, same time, same place. And thanks, Chris, for coming, and thanks everyone for coming as well. So we will see everybody in a week's time. Bye now.
Good show,
everybody.
Bye.